Okay, folks, happy Tuesday. There we go, there's some light. I got some interesting stuff to talk about, but only if there's some people here. There's no point in mentioning this when there's nobody here. I mean, I know some of you guys, at least one of you, comes back and watches it later, but we left working on this desert rat. That's what we're going to work on next. Somebody was like, "Oh, the desert rats. Yeah, those are the guys that are in Tobruk." And I started reading about it. I'm like, "They are?" I was like, "Oh, I've never heard." Well, that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about, 7th Armored Division. Jeroboa. Jeroboa. So, we're going to go ahead and paint this chap's gear. I actually had to go back and watch my video to see what color I used as a base. And it was this green gray. I mean, obviously, I add black to it. I tinker with the color. You know. But what the base color is. Not that it has to be exactly the same, but I was really happy with how it turned out. So. Hold on one second. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, we didn't miss anybody. Or maybe somebody came by and like, what? I'm not going to watch an empty seat. See ya. Well, if you're not going to be patient, you're going to miss out on stuff. That's just how it is. All right, let's get some of this green gray out here. It's another one of these colors that could stand being replaced. But I say that because it's an old color that hasn't been used hardly at all. It's just one of those that I probably got already damaged. It was already damaged goods when I got it, so to speak. Wow. Am I sure this is the color that I used? Yeah. Okay. It's close, anyways. see. It doesn't seem like it's got enough green in it. I call bullshit. All right, let's see. If it's not that one, would it be this one? Stone gray, stoner gray. Yeah, that one could work too. All right, let's trust the process. Let's trust the process. Let's trust the process that I created. I just don't see any of that color here. Must have done it on a different evening. All right. I need to go darker than that. I wonder how many people actually paint with the whole triad thing. I know that War Games Foundry was one of the ones that started that. It was actually a Citadel thing way back when. But I'm sure some people that work for War Games Foundry used to work for Citadel. But, you know, if I did that, then I have to pre-plan what colors were, and then I have even more colors here on the table. I just like figuring out what the base color is going to be, and then just tinker with it from there. No reason reinventing the wheel here. I got lots of experience of this method working pretty good for me. Oh, hopefully we'll get some people in today. We'll give it to 7:45. If we don't have something, if we don't have the juices flowing by then, well, this guy's got a scabbard for a bayonet. If we don't have the juices flowing by then, we'll just say ta-ta and we'll try it again. I don't know if we'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's my late night. I could be running a couple hours behind. See if I can pull this out a little bit more, because I need this light more on top of me. It needs to be brighter. I know you don't want it. You don't want that light in your screen there, but I do need to be able to see. It's kind of an important aspect of this. Saw lots of different setups that people have for their lighting. On there's a oh Interruptus Maximus. Well, it's not a big deal. Well, now there's people here. Now, we're just trying to plan some travel, and, you know, there's some stuff that needs to be asked. So, anyhow, welcome. If you guys were here last night, or if you watched any of the footage of last night's video, you see that I was falling asleep. And in an effort to curb my falling asleep, I decided to read you guys a couple things. One of the things I read you was a scenario that for many years, about 20 years, I've always had an interest in and maybe recreating it at some level. And it was in an article. It was in an article from an old magazine well before my time. I mean, I was a diaper-wearing lad when it came out. That's how old the article is. And it was a magazine that was available on MagWeb. MagWeb was a subscription-based thing you could get in the early 90s, maybe even late 90s. Early 2000s, or maybe even late 90s. One more?
One more verification.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, simple painting session. Take 4. Action. Well, the problem is I don't remember what the fuck I was saying, but anyhow, so you can sign up to this MagWeb. I forget what it was, $3 a month, something really little, really small. I did it for 6 months or something like that. Try to get all the articles I could. You could download them, save them. You could print them. I don't know if you could download them. You definitely could print them. Where I printed this one. So, MagWeb is dead. www.magweb.com. I don't know. It might have been gone for 15 years for all I know. But if you do a search for that article, you can actually find it. Some guy put it on his page, and you guys can access it. The address of it is. If you look at the comment that I did on the video yesterday, I linked to the page, and here it is on the internet. So, as a matter of fact, this isn't Campaign. This is a magazine called Campaign / Panzerfaust. I think it was Panzerfaust Campaign List. I don't really know what the history is, but this is 1974. So I was definitely wearing a diaper in 1974. Well, I could have been potty trained at 3. I don't remember. But anyways, there's another situation in here that's actually the Battle of Stoumont, or their version of the Battle of Stoumont. And I didn't know about that one. And again, it's got a little map and everything, Battle of the Bulge type thing. So, kind of interesting. But anyhow. Yeah, I'm glad that's available somewhere. I don't know whether it's put on his website legally or not, but, I don't know what the statute of limitations are before you share something like that in public. I don't pretend to be an attorney, nor do I want to pretend to be an attorney. Anyhow, back to painting the things here. Painting the packs. So I downloaded some last names, some surnames, some Australian surnames. And you're like, well, you could just use English names. Well, I could. but I want to use ones that are verifiable. Somebody in Australia had this surname. Somebody definitely got shipped out to the prison colony with this last name. So I went to the Australian War Memorial, and it's full of different documents, diaries, and such made by Australian servicemen. And I went through the list and picked several of them. Obviously, they're not trying to depict anybody in particular, and I think most of these were from World War One, anyways. But I figured, okay, well, somebody was on that continent that with that last name, so it should be legitimate. I don't want to do make believe stuff. I don't, educated make believe is okay. Just like I put the name of these tanks, you got to see what the other tanks were named, and see what the pattern is, and put my own spin on it. I don't want to name things inappropriate that aren't period appropriate for the period. So. Oh, too soon. I want to catch the end of this before we go to a brighter color. Man, it's a slow evening. Just one secret watcher waiting for Mitch's feet to show up. Mitch hasn't even made it to this house yet. There's nothing for him right here. This is a painting area. He's not doing any painting. All right, let's compare. Yeah, I guess it's the right color. I do like how it looks. So it's got a little bit of a blue tint to it, not a little bit of a green tint, but I think it'll do just fine. I think it'll do just fine. I don't know what color he used for the socks though. I bet it was. I bet it was British uniform for the the underlayer one. The one that's the most underneath. There we go. British uniform. Let's see. English uniform. Sorry, there is no British uniform. I guess if it was British uniform, it'd probably be red. English uniform is brown. Boy, this thing's slippery. Well, I got some good news, but I don't really want to waste it on nobody being here, so. That'd be kind of a waste. This is such a good figure, and it's just such a basic pose. Just keeping a watch out for the Jerrys. This is definitely a type of pose that belongs in the little carrier. There's no doubt about it. The guy with the binoculars. I know those are supposed to potentially carry troops through the line of fire, but man, I would not want to be in a line of fire in a universal carrier. There's just, you know, you got to be like prone in one of those things. There's not a whole lot of cover on them. I mean, if you sit in them, it doesn't even. I don't think it even protects your shoulders. There we go. But it's really the flesh that really brings the figure together. Once you paint the flesh, you're like, oh, it's a person. You connect the dots in your brain. It's a person. It's a little person. I believe we did like a green ochre or something like that for the something like that. Nope, not khaki. Save khaki for the shirts. Shirts and shorts. I want to say it's this color. Green ochre. Which I think is actually the recommended base color for the Italians. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Mr. Marcus, welcome. Well, Now that finally somebody with an interest is here, were you that one viewer? It's just one viewer and then you showed up. Probably not. Sometimes there's like a delay or something like that. But I found the wheels on the half track. Yay! And they weren't in here, they were in the garage. So we're saved, and I don't have to buy another Fujimi model. Damn it. Hey, that scenario I was talking about yesterday, I don't know if you came on here yesterday, but I was talking about this scenario that I wanted to replicate that I saw about 20 years ago in Tunisia. And this is actually, where? Oh, there's like a bin. There's like a bin that I took like all of my stuff to go airbrush in. And I guess I took it out there with the wheels, and then I took the tires off, and then left them in that bin. You know, where like the 222s are out there, and like there's a Czech 38 or something like that. That stuff's all out there. So, anyways, this article is available online. So if you look at the comments on yesterday's video, I linked where this is available online now. Even though I downloaded this in October 22nd, 2002, it's a pretty cool scenario. And yeah. So anyhow, who makes a Jeep with 37 millimeter guns? I'm talking about an American Jeep. Who makes an American Jeep with 37 millimeter guns? Is Hasegawa? I feel like Hasegawa makes one, or they used to. A Stuart light tank, Hasegawa makes that. 2 Crusader 3s, Hasegawa makes that. I was reading my Desert War book, and there's an action that involves some Marmon Harrington Mark IIs. And Chad doesn't make any. Well, Chad can't print one, or they're not in any of those. You know, the thing is that if you look at the things that he has, the 2 that are on the very bottom, especially the one on the left, I forget what the name of the company is. They make everything, but it's really geared for 15 millimeter and smaller, because if you take a look at them, you can tell that they're going to look kind of like Legos a little bit. You know what I mean? They're a little too stepped. They're not. So, but they make everything in that. Not the Dodge truck. The just a Jeep, just a Willys. I think they do. Let's see how good I am. I remember they had a Hasegawa catalog in the hobby store. Hasegawa, who knows if it's out of print though. Hasegawa 172nd Jeep. Yep, they sure do. Here it is. Because that's a tank gun you don't hear much about. $20? That ain't worth $20. Or €27.58. What the hell is wrong with you? Absolutely not. That's a gun you don't hear anything about. I mean, it's a you use it in Tunisia and that's it. As a matter of fact, it's a weird looking little gun, because the gun shield's like vertical. Yeah, I like looking at stuff and not buying them. Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything to look around. Buy it. Lego my ego. There you go. Welcome back, GB. S model. Well, they don't have a 37, so the Hasegawa is what it is, but that's not a $20 thing, man. It used to cost $7 or something. You know, you remember? Yeah, S model make a couple of Jeeps. They don't seem like they're a really good value though. I don't see like really good value. Like, they make a Kubelwagen set, and like two Kubelwagens cost as much as, a pair of Stewart M3A3s. I'm like, that's just not a good value. It's like freaking this big, freaking tiny, teeny tiny. All right. So this guy's actually a Britisher. And we will give him a Britisher name. We're not giving him a specific Aussie name. They can have the both, but I've got Aussie names that I specifically got from the Australian War Memorial. So there was someone there from World War I or World War II with that surname. They were on that prison island at that point. So that's a legitimate lineage last name. Prison island. Okay, all right, prison continent. The prison continent. I happen to like figures that are looking through binoculars. I don't know, just something about them. I probably would have liked them even more when I was younger because I don't have to paint the face. Now, I'm not scared of painting faces. I was hoping some of the British people would come in because I got a question for them. But only the British people can answer. And Canadians don't count. Canadians are Canadians. They don't make any 1/72nd scale Canadian troops. They're just the same as British troops. I'd give them their own vehicles, though. I kind of like the maple leaf and the different colors motif. Looks nice. But if I did Canadian vehicles, I'd have to do some SS. They get blown to hell. Just have at them. Sorry about that, you Nazi scum. Nazis. The Nazis. Same that airfield they would fight over. Carpiquet. Or Carpiquet. Carpiquet airfield. 12th SS, that's right. Yep. 12th SS with the Panzer IV H's and J's with Zimmerin on them. With sloppy ass numbers. Sloppy ass freaking numbers. They make a figure that I mentioned this before. I don't have a problem with painting SS stuff, but sometimes it's questionable the kind of stuff that they make. Like, I don't have a problem with, putting swastikas on things. I don't have a problem painting SS. I don't have any SS because I didn't, back in the day, I was afraid of trying the camo. And now I'm like, oh, let's see what we can do with this and knock it out of the park. I've got probably 2 squads worth of SS troopers. maybe 3, something like that. Never painted any of them. Um, They'll come a day. They're not coming to the desert, so they can wait. And kids those days, yeah. But there's just some stuff that just makes me go, just kind of question. And one of the things is they make this. I came across it. I don't even know how I was looking for it. I wasn't looking for it. It just showed up. I've read enough of. There's this book called Steel Inferno, and it's got a swastika on the front of it, and it's in soft pack. And actually, it's a softback book, and I've probably read a third of it, which is a lot for me, considering it's just a. But there's I gotta read that with freaking taking notes and stuff like that. And one of the guys that's kind of prominent in that is, it has all kinds of divisions, but the part that I'm reading is 12th SS centric. And one of the guys that's really prevalent in that is this guy called Max Wunsche. And Max Wunsche looks like if you see pictures, there's a famous picture of him that he looks like the prototypical egotistical Nazi stooge. He's like the poster child for that. And wearing this camouflage. He's in a turret of a tank, and let me see if I can find it. He looks like a cool dude, except he's Nazi scum, And they make let me see if I can find the picture. And they actually make a doll of him. Why would you want a doll of that dude? Unless your last name is Wunsche. Where's this famous photo? Here it is. I don't know if I could find a better one. This one, right here. It's a cool photo, but he's, a dirtbag. Looks like he's in a Panther tank turret. And I believe he was the commander of the 12th SS Panzer Regiment. Yeah, he's a sharp-looking dude, but, evil. But they make, a freaking doll for him, or a bust. Why would you buy a bust of that guy? Yeah, 1/6. He's got that Italian camouflage. Italian paratrooper camouflage that the SS commandeered. And you could get him. He got wounded or whatever. Apparently not mortally enough, but there he is, bandaged up. Why is he somebody's hero? It's just kind of weird, He looks a little bit like who's the guy from? Looks a little like Sam Neill. Sam Neill could play him. Not my thing. I don't play with dollies. There you go. Who said that? Who was the kid that got that saying? And he was just trolling, and man, people got wound up. And this is pre-Karen, okay? This is pre-Karen time period. Even when that one person said, I'm painting some Japanese, and I want to paint them Simpson style. What color yellow should I use for their flesh? I'm like, people came unglued. Just unfreaking glued. And that was before Karen's. Look, in The Simpsons, everybody's yellow unless you're Apu, Yeah, like freaking this yellow. Asians are no more yellow than the rest of us. As a matter of fact, if you look at a lot of the Japanese pictures, are more. Well, they vary, But we've got some Asian people that used to live in our old neighborhood. They had this fetish about being afraid of the sun, so they'd walk around with an umbrella all the time. They didn't want to get any sun or whatever. I guess if they got a tan, people thought less of them or something. I'm like, this is America. We like being tan, you know, but they'd walk around with them. That's from, you know, whatever you want to do. Oh, gracious, yeah. People came unglued. Oh, my gosh. You know, it's funny because if they would have said that to, maybe if somebody that was like Asian that was listening to that, they'd probably find it funny and just laugh. Like, that's what you do. You just laugh about things, right? Not like get offended or anything. But this is probably somebody that wasn't even of that ethnicity and wanted to get offended on their behalf. I'm like, come on, man. Go get a hobby, you know? Binoculars. British binoculars. What color are they? I don't get offended on anybody's behalf. I'm sorry. British. World War II. Binoculars. Black. Black, black, black. Totally black. Well, okay. Well, that's easy enough to do. But there's apparently people on. I mean, I haven't been on that page in a long time. It's not very user friendly as far as finding something, or being able to post pictures of things. So it doesn't really serve a purpose for me. I mean, it did back in the day. Hey, who makes this? Who makes the other thing? But there's too many. There's too many people on there that just want to be known, and regardless if they make an ass of themselves. So it's like, you know, I don't have time for that kind of drama. Okay, that's good enough for me. Now this guy, we're not going to paint the same color helmet. Or maybe I will, and I'll add sand to it and bring it up. That's probably the right way to do that. Let's get this brown violet, or what's left of it, which is the old olive drab color for the U.S. tanks. Not U.S. olive drab, but the other one. That is, I'm damn near out of it. Brown violet. And the next guy we're going to do is we're going to do a legitimate Australian. Because some of these figures that came from that Australian set that you sent me, they're going to do double duty. They're going to be, you know, generic Commonwealth folks. Which, by the way, you got any of those South Africans with, like, the pith helmets? Because it's weird, like, you know, I mean, I knew in the desert, like, 20 years ago, I'm like, okay, you got British, you got Australians. Australians sometimes like to wear the bush hat. Okay, cool. That's it, right? That was like the exception for them. You know, and the Scots like to wear a skirt once in a while. You know, but that was it. Okay. But no, the freaking South Africans have their pith helmet looking thing, and the New Zealanders have some weird ass hat. I want to say it's like the Smokey the Bear Trooper type hat or something like that. Did you mention that you're plotting another Face of Battle for the weekend of the 23rd? Well, is your calendar free? I think I'm going to. The wife is going to be out of town, which, you know, I could do it now too, but you know, it interrupts her life. You know, she's going to be out of town that weekend. I've got to work that weekend. I am not looking forward to that. I've got to work all day Saturday, so there probably won't be a Saturday morning session. So it'll definitely be on Sunday, or late Saturday. I haven't decided, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. I probably should do something with something I already have painted, so maybe that anti-tank gun or something like that. No South Africans. I wanted to order them, but I can't find them now. Same thing for the Indians. Really? Strelitz makes them, right? Does somebody make Indians in plastic? Well, I know that whatchamacallit makes a ton of Indians, early war miniatures, but how many plastic figures have you painted? And with that is, how many plastic figures have you painted that you found that they were still durable enough to use and the paint wasn't coming off of them? Okay, that's my only fear. I think they look plenty good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the way plastic figures look. No South Africans or Indians. All right, well, I gotta look because I'm inquisitive. No South Africans. Let's see. Well, South Africans, I think those were the guys who were that were at the airfield at Cedars A, putting up a stiff upper lip and a half. I mean, everybody was there, but they made a stand there. One of their units, and they chewed up the Africa Corps bad. Plastic soldier review. Okay, plastic soldier review. We're going to go to period. Do you even need to ask? World War II. Those are under Great Britain. I believe they're under 8th Army. Nope. Commandos, artillery, RAF personnel. They actually say RAF personnel. What's wrong with me? Airfix Australia. They made Australians? Oh, those guys are definitely Pacific-ish. Strelitz Union of South Africa. Hey, these guys look pretty cool. Look at, they got really small rifles. Really short rifles. New Zealand guys. Yeah, they got weird ass helmets. Or hats, I should say. Kiwi. Strelitz Indians. Oh, these guys look cool. I would like to partake in a conflict. Oh, they look really cool. I mean, look at the detail on this Bren. Oh! And here's the earliest example. Here's the earliest example of this guy's communicating with it. Did you try to turn your computer on? There it is. There's the first example of it ever happening. Customer support. These guys look badass. Can't really mix these guys in with regular, because they're almost all going to have some kind of facial hair, I would imagine. Either a mustache or a beard. Right? I would think. Strelitz, World War II, Indian infantry heavy weapons. We're not going to take any more shit. That's right. Oh, these guys are cool. Oh, and then one Anglo guy, the officer, up there in the corner. And this guy here. This guy's standing here pointing. Look what you've done. Oh, man. Good stuff. I don't know how many plastic versus metal, but there are a lot. I have... What? What? I don't have that many. How many painted figures do I have? Well, I got 40 DBA armies. And they each, if they had 30 figures, that's only... Well, I certainly don't want to sit around and count all the figures I have painted. I probably have 2,000 figures painted. that's a lot of time painting because I paint slow. Yeah, you wanted that set. Well, let me go do a recon. I can find anything. If anybody can find something, it's me. I'm a professional surfer. Just like I can find anything on a map. But Early War Miniatures makes lots of Indians. But I have a feeling that I feel like the bottom of the dollies, I use the word dolly, is the same for a lot of their troops. And they just switch the heads out. So that's not like really a different figure, if you know what I'm saying. But anyways, what I was getting at is, so are they pretty durable? You find that painting them, they're pretty durable? I mean, obviously, if you're going to bend the freaking thing like this, yeah, it's going to flake off. But just are they as durable as like white metal figures? Because we know white metal figures the paint doesn't come off of them. Unless you do something dramatic, like, drop them on the ground, or, bend, and wherever they bend, it cracks there, which is, repairable. That's why I never even considered painting plastic figures. Because of just durability. Not that they suck or anything. I know a lot of people don't give them the time of day, but have had more issues with metals. Wow. Okay, well, that's comforting. We're going to seal them. We sealed them, but of course I want to brush paint the sealant. With acrylic. I'm not focusing any of my attention on working on the King Tiger, though. Even though I need something for animal names, I don't care about competing at the model club. I'm not interested in doing that. I just wanted to talk shop with folks. Nothing is beyond slight touch-up. My biggest issue has been with bases. Again, everything can be repaired. I've never had to touch up a base of any kind. Okay, well, that's comforting. And I'm not opposed to using repeat figures. I just don't want 4 of the same pose. But like 2 of the same pose would be just fine, You just switch the colors, When one guy's got light colored shirt and a light colored and the other guy's got light colored shorts, and then flip them, So you've got some contrast. Although I saw some pictures of the Africa Corps. The Africa Corps are notorious faded uniform folks. And this guy had them all painted in like in olive, like brand new uniforms. And it just looked weird, like one article of clothing, maybe. And it's like, I can't find my pants. Here, have some pants, and they're new, But it's my trousers, go put on some trousers, also mix it up with the basing, city, country, etc. Well, these guys are all going to have the same basing, and I forgot to put some grass. So I'm going to put some grass on there. I've got lots of like arid looking stuff. Just, maybe one tuft or two, but just something to add a little bit of interest there. Okay, I'm going to leave this guy as he is. This paint's actually a little too wet. Let's see what happens if I add a little bit of this white to it. White seems to dry out faster than any of the other ones for some reason. Oh, lovely. Baga. Okay, and then we just have the pants to do. Actually, I'm going to make a little bit of light gray here. Not the, I said pants. I didn't mean to say pants. I meant to say boots. There we go. We're going to paint an actual Australian next. Boomerang Gang. And we have the little furry bit of the canteen. I believe we're using this for it. No, we weren't using this one because this is Army Painter, but it was a color like that. No, not US Tan Earth. Which color was it? Yeah, we'll go with this Army Painter one. Why not? Boomerang Gang. I'm going to go ahead and be lazy, and I'll do his hair this color too. At least it work its way up. You say your order finally came in? I want to say it's going to come in over the weekend or something like that. You get your order from Chad? We're going to leave that guy be. Chat order arrived. You get anything that was broken? You get up off my ass and order the little things that go on here for extra stuff. We get that M10 going. Actually, a cool looking vehicle. Ooh. Be right back. Alright, well that guy's going to be, I don't know who he's going to be yet. But we got to pick us a digger. There were 2 small issues, but I think I can fix them. Chad's already offered to reprint if needed. Yep, it happens. I didn't have any, there wasn't anything that I couldn't, like, repair. You know, I don't want to waste his time, you know. It's, we need him to be successful. So he can keep printing for us. It's probably the freaking mail carrier is what it is. Those guys are trouble. Alright, what do we got here? This guy's got some Mondo culottes. I mean, I like all of them. I just don't. Who am I going to do next? Let's do this guy. Let's do this guy. Actually, we're gonna do a couple things. This guy, we're gonna name him. We're gonna name him, and then we're gonna name this guy. Okay. And I actually got some names that could be funny in certain situations. We didn't make fun of them. You know, we got names that could be have some curious things that happen. Let's see. Like, there's a guy named Peach. His last name is Peach. genders. You know, he's one of the 53 genders. Hey, it's a big family. I've already recommended him to my friends. Yeah, keep it going, man. He needs to be successful. Looks like he's enjoying it so far. I don't need to get into 3D printing stuff. I don't have the the right personality for that. All right, so this guy is the guy with a binocs. Okay, I want a name that can be traditionally English and also one of these Australian ones, because these guys are all Australian type names. So I'm going to pick. He's going to be. He's going to be Brooke. Brooke, because he's one of my British names, anyways. So Brooke is going to be that guy, and then this digger is going to be Munt, M-U-N-T. Okay, so we're going to get that. We're going to get both of these guys. I'm going to cut those. We're going to turn the fan off. Let's just cut the crap with this. Okay, Brooke. And Munt. Rhymes with, yeah, we know what it rhymes with. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get our little piece of, I thought I kept it around. Well, it's not like I don't have more of this stuff. It'll turn up anyways. Nope, that one's shorter. Now, here's some that's green. All right, we're going to paint a section of this in British uniform. That's the base color for the desert. One of my favorites old work colleagues had Tynan as a last name. Well, that's a good name. You spent nearly 2 months in Australia when I worked in Asia. I bet you liked it. I bet I would like Australia. Other than that driving on the wrong side bullshit. I think everything else would be... I have a feeling it would be very America-like. You know, like Canada is very America-like. At least I thought so. Where I went, it was. And I consider that a compliment. Man, we didn't have any of our British cousins that are on tonight. The British cousins. The question will just have to, we'll have to wait. was only sitting there. It was fantastic. I bet it was clean as shit. Modern and clean. I'm not used to dirty. Like, I go to New York City and I'm like, that's not my America. You know what I'm talking about? You're from Virginia. I'd be just fine in Virginia. New York City, what the hell? Like, I have a natural aversion to paying for parking a vehicle. That's just like un-American. Like, parking should be free. Like, you want me to frequent your business? Well, you need to provide a place for me to park, right? I know. I think like a suburbanite. Well, I am. Captain Suburbia. All right, let's move this guy out of the way. And we're going to paint up this munt. Okay, munt. You got some Mondo culottes on, man. Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, and he does have a a helmet. He does have a tin hat. Should have seen a place 30 years ago. New York City is so much cleaner now. I wouldn't want to be in New York City when it's raining, because all that soot-covered stuff would splash up on you. I thought it was okay when I went. And we also outnumbered all the weirdos, like a lot to one. You know, it's like, there's some, thank you. Like, there's some strange cats in big cities. There's some strange cats in little cities. You know, we even have I don't know how many people live in this town that I live in. 8,000, 9,000. It's a little town. But it's a suburb of the other town I used to live in. But even in a little town like this, we've got celebrities. And a celebrity of a little town is usually somebody that there's something wrong with them. Like, yeah, that's cool, but don't get too close to him because you might catch whatever he's got. And we have 3 people I know of that are out there. So, okay, you munt. We're gonna start off with. Let's just keep it simple. Let's do khaki shorts. Khaki colored shorts. $30 years ago. One was 30 years ago. In the 90s. That was before Giuliani, right? I went in 2000 and hold on a second. The first time I went was, I wasn't married yet. Oh, the first time I went was just before the millennium. And I've always been fascinated, even as a little kid, with skyscrapers. I think they're super cool. And it's like going to another planet. I mean, I've always been fascinated with skyscrapers. And this last time I went, when I was up there, 2 years ago, and there's all kinds of even taller buildings than there were before. I'm still fascinated by skyscrapers. They're pretty cool. Giuliani was the beginning of the cleanup. Well, who was the dirty ass mayor before Giuliani? Mayors of New York, in reverse order. Mayors of New York. Oh, Thomas Willett in 1665. All right, let's go back asteroid order. David Dinkins. Why does that name sound familiar? Old Koch was mayor forever. Yep. Anybody before there I'd never heard of before, other than the LaGuardia, because they named a freaking airport after him. Eric L. Adams. Never heard of her. Dinkins. Sounds like something you call somebody. Don't be a Dinkins. That dude's a Dinkins. Oh yeah, he left me hanging too. Okay. Khaki pants. They look like culottes. Well, it's better than those Rhodesian shorts. You know, those troopers that wear the short shorts. Weird. You need to get some troopers that wear the short shorts, and then they can wear their shirts by the Spanish Foreign Legion. They got the shirts that are too tight too. Got their shorts, their shirts that are like too short, two sizes too short, too small. All right, where does his pant? Where do his pants end? Okay, that's the belt. That's part of the shirt. Wow, what am I looking at? Okay, that must be. Okay, this is the belt here. Right. But still, nothing takes the cake like that Greek presidential guard. Those guys are just silly ass looking. Ephizones or whatever. Ephizones. And they're supposedly supposed to be badasses, but not wearing that outfit, you're not. So I was reading my Desert War thing and I came across something really interesting. The correlation between Panther tank. Yeah, I heard what I said. Desert War, Panther tank. What the Panther tank and M11340 had in common was the first actions they were used in, the crews weren't properly trained on them. Panther tank crews at Kursk, they weren't well trained. They had like no practice on them. And the M1340s, well, the guys that were crewing them, they didn't have any practice on anything. And there was one battle, there was like 9 A9s or A10s, I forget which one it is. And they destroyed like 40 M113-40s, not a single loss to themselves. Speaking of interesting uniforms, I also want to stroll this Moroccan Goumier. Very cool set. I think I could use them for Italy. Did they fight for the Free French? Seems like they would. You know, my only problem with plastic figures is that, well, there's two problems with plastic figures. Does the paint stick to them? And then the second problem is that you can't just scrape away the lines. You've got to like cut them off. So it takes a long time to clean these guys up. Now, with that said, they look great. You know, I think there's this perception that plastic figures, they're no good. You know, but no, these guys look. You know, their detail is not as over the top as white metal figures. So you just got to be conscious of that. Might have to exaggerate some of the folds a little bit more than normal so you can see them at a distance on the tabletop. If that's what you wanted to do. Oh, I want to send you something while I'm thinking about it. I came across some guy who has a blog. I know there's people that still blog, but and it was Pacific Theater oriented, and this guy had some incredible terrain. That's had incredible terrain. I just came across it today, so let me see if I can find it here. Okay, here's the link to his place, to his blog. I'll show you what I mean. And he just took those plastic trees and you could tell that he airbrushed them. But it looks really good. I'm going to, let's see. Open an external, sure, open an external browser. All right, I want to share. Share. Yep, and then we want to find your happy ass on Messenger. There you go. Check it out. There's lots of little battlefields, and he's got one of those terrain mats like you have. I'll never buy a terrain mat sight unseen, but I've thought about getting one of those little big man studios. No, cigar box models. Probably in small clumps. That's what I'm going to do as well. What if I ever get out there? But I don't think I'm gonna paint those two Japanese. I'm getting real picky about. I don't want to paint stuff that just looks like crap. Like the actual vehicle is not very good, because it takes me just as long to do is paint something that looks good, and you know at the end of the day I'm not going to have a good result. You know, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's a bad vehicle. It's a bad vehicle. Like, the Japanese tanks I really like are those piece of crap ones. I think they're called Igos. And they got a 57mm gun in the turret, but they're very front heavy looking. The front of them almost looks like the front of like one of those Lancia trucks. You know. I don't know what type they are. I don't know that stuff. Chad has spoiled me on vehicles. Yeah, no, and I don't mind putting them together. Don't get me wrong. I actually like putting them together, because he asked me. He said, "You want them put together, or can you put them, or you want to put them together?" I said, "Listen, I want to make life easier for you. You put them. You just send me the stuff. I'll assemble them. You know, I don't mind assembling things. I can assemble some of those Russian kits. I certainly can handle one of those. You know, hey, you want to keep your costs low." These guys have a little fold at the bottom of his jeans. Kind of like those jean shorts when you roll up the bottom one. What's the name of that tank? Igo or something? They used them in China. It was the first medium tank they had that wasn't a total piece of crap. Are these Strelitz figures difficult to get a hold of because of, blockade? Russian blockade? I think they are Russian, as opposed to Ukrainian Russian. Or Belarusian Russian. I think that's going to be a little too much contrast. There we go. Yeah, they've been difficult. I think Strelitz began in Russia and shifted to Ukraine. Well, that's no better. Yeah. Well, maybe in the coming years that won't be as big an issue. I know one thing. I'm gonna buy some of that Russian standard vodka, whatever that becomes available again. I keep that around just for for special drinking purposes when I'm working on Russians or something like that. Should last me like forever. Okay, les pants. All right. The shirt, we're going to use a different tone. We're going to use this skeleton bone from Army Painter. Yes? Looks good. Let me show you a picture of this guy. He's not sealed yet, so he'll look better sealed. Man, I love painting flesh. And that's funny because when I was doing 1/35 scale models, I'm like, I don't want to paint figures. And I'm like, man, give me more figures. It's a little blurry because I'm a shitty picture taker. That is, what did we say? Cook. You could look in to see what's cooking. Cook. Yeah, the webbing looks good. Well, it's got to, there's got to be some contrast. You can't have like that one guy that has like everything's like this color. Like that doesn't work. Okay. I used green gray, but there's a lot of other colors. But there's a lot of black in it. I mean, I didn't just paint this. I mean, I had to darken it quite a bit. This is almost like the highlight color. There's lots of colors that could work for that. You know, this the stone gray could work from Vallejo. I mean, heck, even something like this, even this yellow green could work. The problem is it uses the darker tone, and you know, we're gonna have a lot of fun with the African Corps, because the African Corps are all over the place. And the Italians, you know, the officers have the lighter colored shirts too. You know, they'll have like the Italians will have like they'll have like pants that'll be like I'm exaggerating. I'm just pulling a color for contrast. They'll have pants that maybe will be like this. Obviously, they'll be lighter color, and the actual tunic will be, you know, light colored on the Italian officers. You know, so yeah, I like to. You know, that's one of the things is like, oh, you got to paint them all uniform. It gets boring when you can put just a tiny little bit of spin on stuff. You know, it just makes them more interesting. It gives them more personality. You know, there's this picture that I have that is like the perfect example of this. And let me see if I can find it. I found it inadvertently the other day. And I had saved it a long time ago. I think it was a long time ago. Because there's always people that are like, oh, it's got to be this color. This is the color it is. Oh, your color's off a little bit. And then you show them this, and you just shut them the hell up. Jeez, what is this? I'm not sure what the hell that is. Like a bunch of models and stuff. Maybe it's under downloads. That's where it was. No, I can't find it. Figures. There's this basically these German tunics, and they're all lined up. They're all in a big pile, laying next to each other. You could tell the difference, the dramatic difference there is, all over the place in colors. And you know, I don't think that's limited to just the Germans, who are like, you know, they're running out of, you know, tint, or like everybody's running into stuff, and you know, you could color them all the same when they come out of the factory, and the reality is you know, the fact that they're being weathered, you're gonna have like dramatic looks between one and the other. They're just gonna wear completely differently. And I think it enhances the personality that, you know, these troopers can have. I think it's a good thing. Well, I don't know where the hell do not know where the hell I found it. Might have actually been on the computer, because I actually fired up the computer. I moved it off to the side and then fired it up, and I've got kind of my little laptop station over there, and I actually found on a drive, on a memory card, the Two Fat Lardies Chain of Command Wintergewitter scenario thing. I know I bought it, and I couldn't find where the hell I'd done it. So yeah, I found that. I looked through the scenarios, and I'm like, they're not very useful for ideas, you know. I kind of had high hopes for it, and it's, you know, not all that in a bag of chips. Now, I saw a painting tutorial or a painting idea that said to do the bush hat in British uniform. So it's going to be a relatively dark color. So that's why the color that's right under the bush hat, we're going to make it light, just for contrast purposes. Oh man, I'm gonna go. Good night. Catch you again soon. Okay, man. You know where I'll be. I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow night because it's my late night for work on Wednesdays. But we'll see. We'll paint if we can. You know, I got to do this anyways, and this is therapeutic, so I don't see any reason to not try to do this every opportunity that I get. Makes sense to me. But I'm probably going to stop when I'm done with this shirt. So we're going to do the shirt and probably stop as well. Old Guy Wargaming, welcome. Good morning. You typed in German field gray in Google and found the photo. Oh, you did? So you know which one I'm talking about. All right, I'll do the same thing because I'm a Google expert. I'm glad somebody's paying attention. Yeah, I think it was on a little drive disk that I saw yesterday when I was looking at that scenario. What did you search? German field gray. Okay, let's do that. German field gray. It's a cool photo. And it might just be like reenactors or something like that. Let's see, images. This is the one. Yep. This is the photo I was looking for. Let's make it big. Yeah, it's like dramatic. So what I like to do is when I'm doing my German uniforms, first of all, there's a couple of German uniform colors I like to use as a base. Okay, and that's just kind of a starting point. There's like a Vallejo one, and then there's the one that's done by Cote d'Arms, and then I've got the one from Mission Models, and I want to say there's actually two Vallejo ones. And you can just take it and add a little bit more green, before you darken it, or add a little bit of brown, or, so you could literally use the same color on the top and the bottom, but they're different a little bit. It just gives them a little bit of personality. It's not be like dramatic, but just like, so it doesn't look like they're wearing a set of pajamas, a matching set of pajamas. Been adding khaki gray to uniform gray for variations. Absolutely. It's Neil. Okay. Old guy, are you really that old? I don't know. You're not that much older than me. Old Guy Wargaming. Yeah. I've done a lot of field gray stuff. Haven't done any SS camo. It's coming one day. Those guys are like perfect for NPCs, But that's why I have this many colors, because it just gives me like, I want that as the starting point, instead of like having to create a starting point every time. And that's worked well for me. I could probably do the little triad system too, but I prefer more than 3 tones. I think 3 tones is a little limited. Maybe if I did 10 millimeter, I'd probably be okay with it. But that's the whole reason I have that many colors. I had sold stuff, and I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Buy a sandwich? No, just put it back in the hobby. 54, you're only 1 year older than me. Exactly 1 year. Generation X, baby, or whatever we are. I don't ever feel old. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not going to turn out well. Or look at these punk asses. That's what I call them. That's what I call these young people that make up this language that they speak now. That use all this verbiage that is not needed. I never feel old. Playing with these little toy men keeps me young. Keeps me from being an alcoholic. That's what I call it. All right. Let's make out what he's got going on. Sometimes it's kind of hard to discern where something ends and something else begins on this uniform. Okay, I think that is shirt. Part of the shirt. Uh-oh, long one. Do the same with white. Start with different base and work up to the same highlight. Get a totally different look. Yeah. Well, I learned a lot by doing ancients. I did a lot by, I had to learn a lot. Like, it forced me to, like, be creative. Like, okay, we got these guys, they're basically a bunch of peasants that are wearing off-white. And they fight this other group of people, this other civilization that also wear basically undyed linens. Like, how do we make them look different? I mean, you can't paint them all the same. That's freaking boring. And when they're fighting each other, you're like, who's who? So you've got to kind of put your own spin on it, or get bored. It's funny because my favorite 15 millimeter figures are actually the armies that are the most boring looking. I love my medieval Irish, and they're just really boring looking, but they're not. They can be drab, but I just thought that was like, it was fun trying to figure out how to do that, and I would have had a lot of fun doing feudal Scots as well, because it would have been kind of the same thing. But alas, we're back into the 20th century. And I started painting this way probably from the early 90s when they came out, probably 93, 94, when they started coming out with that heavy metal painting guide from Citadel. And I was just captivated with seeing how that stuff was painted, so that it looks good up close and it looks good at 2 feet away or 3 feet away. Like, you can make out what it is. Because if you look at if you go and you look at a tank that's in a tank museum, or a tank that's running, like even one of those that's in Bovington, they look like shit compared to most miniatures, because they don't, we put black lining, we accentuate the details so you can see them across the table. If you make them look realistic, everything's going to blend together, and that's fine, but that doesn't give them the look that I'm looking for, Your Napoleonic Saxons have wool jackets based with sand color and cotton pants based with gray color. There you go. Are you in the UK? I can't remember if you're in the UK or not. I want to say you are. And if you are, then I got 20 questions to play with you. It might actually, it's not going to be more than 20 questions. And they're not bad questions, but they're, they need to be answered by somebody who's from the UK, who's familiar with the UK. And that's not me. professional UK person. Not available in stores. Be like if somebody wanted to ask me about Florida, I'm your guy. I mean, I've lived here my whole life. It's pretty hard not to know what's going on here. You would never build a T-34 like they look. Too many holes. Yes, in UK, England. Okay, excellent. So, I'm going to say this with a caveat. There's always a caveat. We're supposed to go on vacation in January. My daughter is going to study abroad in Spain, and we're just planning that now. Supposedly going to be gone for a really long time, as far as I'm concerned, from work, a couple weeks, or a couple weeks plus, and we're going to fly into London, and we're going to have like 2 days to go to London. And what I really wanted to do is to go to the Tank Museum, and then I realized where it is. Like, it's in the middle of it's halfway to Exeter. It's actually more than halfway to Exeter. Is there an easy way to get out there, or you basically you're stuck? Is there like a high-speed rail or anything that goes out there from like London to? We're not gonna have a vehicle. We're not gonna have a vehicle in the UK, but of all the things to say, what do you want to do in the UK? I'm like, I want to go to the Tank Museum. I want to go to the Tank Museum and tell them everything's painted wrong. There is no tank museums here in the U.S. I can't go to them. I never got a chance to go to Aberdeen, and Aberdeen's closed up. And there's these guys in Virginia that have this huge armor museum, and it's closed down as well. They moved some of the Aberdeen stuff to places that the tax-paying citizens can't go to. So, is that just fantasy? Just give up trying to even go there? That'd be in mid-January. I know it's going to be cold. Perfect. I can deal with the cold weather. Yeah, there's a Sherman that is in even the vehicles that they have here at the at Camp Landing. They look like trash. They really look bad. They look really, really bad. Not really. Best is buy a car out in the sticks a bit. Okay, well, I'm probably just not going to go there then. I mean, it is. It's like really, really far. I'm like, And then you have this idea that it's going to be A, and you get there like, there was some museum that I saw, and I don't know where it was, and it might have been in Russia. And not the Kubinka one, but a different one. Well, the Kubinka one's freaking huge. That's the one. But you can't read any of the freaking signs because they don't use the humanly agreed upon alphabet. Imperial War Museum in London. I guess I'll have to settle for that. I'd rather go to the Tank Museum, man. You can't see that stuff, But anyhow. And this particular museum had some outside stuff where these people were standing on top. Like, it had this dad and his son who was 6 or 7 years old, and they were standing on a T-34-85. I'm like, oh man, I'd love to climb on it. I understand why they don't let people climb on vehicles, but I'd like to just climb on a vehicle. I don't need to. I have no interest in riding in a living one. It's that's just uncomfortable and become really claustrophobic. Like that episode with Lindy Beige and the chieftain crawling into the turret of a Churchill. Lindy Beige is a hoot. Has tanks and aircraft in it. Okay, well, we'll have to settle for that. But and there's no point in going to any game stores. Like everything's available here in the states, and man, we're carrying only carry on, so we don't have any extra space for anything. We don't have any extras. It's funny when I went to Canada um, last winter, and I went to the Sentry Box, which is I can't believe how incredible that store is. Well, 90% of the store I had no interest in it. It was the 10% that was all the historical stuff that was amazing. And I brought some models back, which by the way I built all those, just so you know. Uh, that was Shermans and some Stewarts and I want to say one something else. Anyways, all that stuff got built. But I was going through TSA. They were like. They're making comments about it, like and the TSA guys, are they don't hire the finest folks of knowledge. And he's like, oh yeah, these are from World War I, right? Yeah, whatever. Just let me through. I want to get back home. Don't give me any reason to stop. Yeah, whatever you want, man. Man, that Sentry Boxes. Any stores in London with have a lot of like plastic soldier company stuff, 1/72nd scale good stuff. PSC, something like that. Go in one of the stores, buy a bunch of 1/72nd scale stuff, saying, "Yeah, I'm from America. You guys play that over there?" No, just me. Nope, just me. The biggest selection of models I found in Florida was actually at a flea market, but they weren't priced to sell. They weren't interested in moving them. Yeah, we got a lot of cool places we're supposed to go to. I don't really want to talk about it because, it's really frustrating when you make plans and things go sideways against your wishes, and then you have to kind of feel like, you got to explain why you weren't able to do what you planned on doing. Like I've said it before, if I tell you I'm going to do A and I don't do A, I'm the first person pissed off, you know. No shops you're aware of. Yeah, man, that sucks. You don't want to go to freaking Warhammer places. Like, that's, they got that shit here, Yeah, some place like the Sentry Box. That place is incredible. That place is incredible. Well, with all that said, I don't really need anything, so, you know. I remember those days when you were a kid, you'd go to a hobby store and you get like butterflies in your stomach trying to, like, I wonder what's going to be there. What are they going to have? Oh my God, they have all that. And you just, you don't have any money. You can't buy anything. And you're like, oh. I was in my late teens. Would go to, anytime I'd go travel with my parents to a new town, I would look for the stores that had miniatures. I'd look through the yellow pages, the white pages, or whatever, and find out hobby stores you could go to. Of course, I don't have any of those miniatures anymore. let's use this color straight on. And it's actually behaving okay. I don't really like Army Painter because it behaves different than I prefer, but this one's behaving really well. Maybe I've changed the way I'm dealing with it. So if you live in somewhere big like London and you don't have any shops, then you really want to get out to your conventions, so that you got one place where you can go when you have access to all the, Salute, or whatever. Which is the same thing as Historicon. I mean, there's no hobby stores here, so you go to Historicon, like, oh, they got this, they got that. But even still, it's kind of lacking in 20 mil stuff. But I like going to a place and see what I can find. Not necessarily looking for it. If you need something, you just go out and buy it. You have access to it. But there's nothing like walking out and rummaging through and see what there is. There used to be a hobby store in Jacksonville, which is about an hour and a half from me. My dad used to work there. My parents are still together. He would commute there. This place called Arts Hobby Shop, and this is a place that's never been dusted ever. It's not around anymore, but I mean, you they would have stuff, that inventory that hadn't moved in 20 years. This was like in 1990, so maybe not 20 years, but 10. It'd been around a long time, and you could find some stuff that they didn't know they had in there. So it's always kind of a fun thing. But those days were days when I didn't have any money. I didn't have really an income, so now I can pretty much buy whatever I want, and I don't. But some interesting places. Growing up. The other place they had in Jacksonville, we would special trips to it, is this place that was called the Kit Bunker. And this guy had like a garage. It was a big garage. Like, maybe it'd be the equivalent of like a 4-car garage next to his house. And it was legitimate business. They had a sign out there for it and everything. And this guy had floor to the roof, stacked up model kits. Like, anything you wanted from Tamiya, whatever. It was all there. And I think he was just a collector, and but it was well organized. But they had pretty much everything. Stuff that at the time in the early 90s might have been out of production. He had it. You could get a copy of it. You wanted a model of the Tamiya Matilda, and it wasn't in production anymore by Tamiya. He had a copy from 1982 or whatever, and it wasn't crazy priced. So I'm not really sure how he got in there. Maybe he just wanted to collect. I went there 3-4 times, and I'm not sure what happened to it, but it's not around anymore. But I would have been like, oh man, you find a bunch of Matchbox model kits or something like that. Matchbox armor. Shit, I'm not done. I want to do his hat. You guys don't mind, right? If you don't like my show, you can just leave. It's just like, yeah, just play. You won't be watching me if I'm not on, because that's kind of how it works. Yeah, it's hard to believe. Well, it's not hard to believe. Time's kind of just passed on it. But London's got what? 7 million people in London. just guessing. At least 6. That's a big freaking place. English uniform. English. That's the color they suggested to do. The digger hat. The bush hat. Yeah, big contrast between the shorts and the shirt. That's what we want. We're actually probably going to take the shorts and bring them up a level. Let's add a little bit of black to this English uniform for the shadows. Western Desert Walkabout. What do they drink in Australia? Beer? Are they big beer drinkers? Still a few model shops and gaming stores around me. But you don't live in London. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to live in a big metropolis type place. It's too difficult just doing some simple things, you know. I'm not a big city person. I don't want to live in a haystack either, but you know. You haystack liver? We got to make sure this guy looks like somebody who's been deported to the prison colony. And we're going to leave a little bit of space. I think he's got a little band on there. And that'll be a lighter color, so it'll stand out. This guy's going to be fun. They don't get any free Italian tanks with kangaroos painted on them. They got to earn them. You got to knock them out first. You got to scare those eye ties out of those tanks, then take them over. Live in an old market town out west, at least 2,000 years old. Oh. Holy, I can't remember what it's called. Stonehenge. Holy Stonehenge, Batman. Is that nearby? That's not near London. That's over near the Tank Museum, isn't it? I am really good. I'm sorry. Did I say I was really? I am really good with maps. And that's even before Google Maps. It's not as far, but still, yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere. No. No, I'm sure we'll go to the pool and the tower and get a picture taken with old Belfast. Go make fun of one of the guards. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. I don't do shit like that. I've seen some of the videos where it's like the guards like, fuck this bloke. No, I don't fuck with the beef eaters. That's disrespectful stuff. That's for people that didn't know who their dad was. Okay, this is the full color right here, all the way up. Oh, now, yep, now we're all the way up. All right, and we're going to take khaki, and we're going to put that little band in khaki. Khaki should already be out here. Here it is. An hour and a half outside leather on a good day. Yeah, we don't have time for that. Yeah, you do something like that, you don't see anything else. Like, yeah, just gonna go with the flow, you know. We'll go there. Try to eat somewhere it doesn't have Indian food. Good luck. And nah, it'll be good. Just a little whistle stop on the way. That's if we go. I mean, you know, we're supposed to go to Europe last year and it didn't happen. You know, they canceled the entire cruise. Like, nope, this ship's not going to be here during that time. Your cruise is canceled. You know, so. Kind of better to just have low expectations and just kind of go with the flow. But yeah, it's a haul out to the tank museum then. That doesn't make any sense. Besides, their vehicles aren't weathered right. Like, look, you guys need to put some black. You need some black lining here. You can't see that on, you know. Use some panel lining, man. What's wrong with you? Make sure they got the right colored Dunkelgelb. Okay, that's nice. Nice! Got any white left? I think this fan that's blowing right on me is kicking up dust, which, you know, this is a new house. I don't know why the hell it has dust, but I guess dust is everywhere. That's what's doing that. It makes you feel like you're sick, and no such thing. A little bit more, a little bit more. What are you doing up at 3 in the morning? Mind your own business, okay, okay. Like the Frenchman says, mind your own business. All right, I got it. I used to be a night owl, but I'm not in my 20s anymore. I am not in my 20s anymore. Let's take a shot at this lad. Bloke. Go for bloke. Still preliminary. World's worst picture taker. No, there's worse than me. And it looks like he's got a white shirt on, but he doesn't have a white shirt on. It's not quite white. That's Private Munt. So tomorrow morning, see what's next. Denfield's next, and then is Flesh, and then the accoutrement. And yeah, that's we're gonna have the guys with the bush hats that are legitimate Australian looking figures. Those are definitely the Australians, and we can add the other guys that have the steel helmets, whether they're Airfix guys or the actually guys from the Australian set that don't have the bush hat. They'll go both ways. So, I mean, unless the Australians have longer shorts than the British, and that could be. I guess I probably need to look into that. But yeah. Anyhow, that's it. So, okay, folks. Well, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch